Welcome back to So You Really Want to Learn Latin, and today we are going to be looking at a couple of third declension nouns that behave in a slightly peculiar way. Okay, so we've already learnt rex as our masculine, feminine or common noun type in the third declension, and opus as our neuter type. And you will remember that rex goes rex, rex, regem, regis, regi, rege, reges, 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 regum, regibus, regibus. Okay, that's our basic pattern. Now, there is another type of third declension noun which goes like civis. Okay, now I'll just show you how it goes first, and then I'll explain sort of how you know whether a noun will go like rex or whether it will go like civis. So civis goes civis, civis, ciwem, civis, ciwi, ciwe. So far nothing odd. Cives, 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 civium, ciwibus, ciwibus. Okay, so a lot of fuss to make about the fact that there is one difference, and that is in the genitive plural, nouns that go like civis go ium instead of just . Okay, now there is a pretty standard way of telling whether a noun will go like civis. It is because certain third declension nouns are said to be non-increasing third declension nouns. Okay, now what that means is that when you count the syllables between the nominative singular and the genitive singular, most third declension nouns increase the number of syllables by one. So rex, one syllable, regis, two syllables, iudex, two syllables, iudicis, three syllables. Okay, that's the normal pattern. And where a noun does do that, and most third declension nouns do, they go like rex if they're masculine, feminine or common. Okay, but where the number of syllables remains the same, like civis, civis, common, a citizen, or hostis, hostis, common, an enemy, okay, the number of syllables didn't change between hostis and hostis. Where that happens, they go like civis and they add that little I in the genitive plural. So hostis, for example, an enemy, normally only found in the plural, so we'll whack through it singular quickly. Hostis, hostis, hostem, hostis, hosti, hoste. Into the plural now. Hostes, 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 hostium, hostibus, hostibus. Okay? Really, really simple rule to follow. If the number of syllables does not increase from the nominative to the genitive singular, then it goes like civis and you add an I in the genitive plural. Okay. And neuter nouns have an equivalent. So, normally think of opus. Opus was two syllables, and its genitive was operis, so it went from 2 to 3. Flumen, a river. Flumen had two syllables, fluminis had 3. Okay? But sometimes you get a neuter noun where the number of syllables does not increase. And the noun that we're going to follow as our pattern for this is cubile. Cubile means a bed. And it goes cubile, cubilis, neuter, a bed. Now count those syllables. Cubile, 3. Genitive, cubilis, 3. So it is a non-increasing third declension neuter noun. Now these ones are a little bit trickier. They don't just add an I in the genitive plural. They do some slightly weird things. So first of all, let's see what happens in the singular. It goes cubile, 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 cubilis, cubili, cubili. Right, so that's nasty. The ablative singular has got the same ending as the dative singular, the letter I. Cubilet, 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 cubilis, cubili, cubili. And then in the plural, it adds that extra I nice and early. It goes cubilia, 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 cubilium, and then it kind of drops it again, cubilibus, cubilibus. Okay, now, we're not going to make a big song and dance about this. When you're translating from Latin into English, you'll barely even notice these differences, apart from that ablative singular ending for cubile. When you see cubili and you think, yay, it's a neuter third declension noun, you'd be thinking, well, that's got to be dative singular. Well, no, because it's a non-increasing third declension noun, and so it could be dative or ablative singular. So that's not very nice. When you're writing Latin, of course, you've got to know, is it increasing or non-increasing, because you want to get this spelling absolutely right. Now, as you might expect, there are some exceptions to our lovely rule about increasing and non-increasing. So it isn't quite as straightforward as counting the syllables. Rex, regis, that goes from 1 to 2, so it is increasing. Civis, civis, that did not increase in syllables, so that's non-increasing. There are some nouns which do increase in the number of syllables, but nonetheless go as if they were non-increasing nouns. And the other way around, there are nouns that do not increase, but behave as if they did. Okay, so I'm just going to tell you the rules and the exceptions, so you've got them. They are in the book, and probably the best thing is to really eyeball them and write it down in your own handwriting so you've got it firmly in your mind. But the ones to look out for, first of all, members of the family. I always talk about it as being members of the family. So you've got words which relate to family membership. So, for example, mater means a mother, and its genitive is matris. Well, that didn't increase, did it? Mater, matris, 2 syllables. But mater in the genitive plural is just matrum. It does not go matrium. Okay, same applies to pater, a father. Pater, patris, looks as if it'll be a non-increasing noun, but the genitive plural is patrum. Frater, a brother. Frater, fratris. It also behaves like rakes. It goes fratres, 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 fratrum, fratribus, fratribus. It does not go eum. Soror, as we're doing brothers, sisters, and so on. Soror, sororis, feminine assistant. Well, it's already increasing, so it's going like rakes. So that's easy. And the one to chuck in there with the other members of the family is canis, a dog. So canis, canis, 2 syllables both times. Common, a dog, and that goes like rakes. So canes, 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 canum, cannibus, cannibus. It does not go eum. Okay, so members of the family behave like rakes. Now, monosyllables which end in 2 consonants, an example of that would be urbs. So it's a monosyllable, in other words, just 1 syllable, but it ends in 2 consonants. So the word urbs, U-R-B-S, it actually ends in 3 consonants, R-B-S, but it's ending in at least 2 consonants. It's a monosyllable, therefore it goes like civis, not like rakes. So a monosyllable ending in 2 or more consonants behaves as if it was a non-increasing noun. So that one in the plural is going orbis, 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 orbium, orbibus, orbibus. Fons, fontis, masculine a fountain, and mons, montis, masculine a mountain, both monosyllables, both end in two or more consonants, ns, and so they both in the genitive plural go ium. Montes, 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 montium, montibus, montibus. Okay? And finally, a slightly recherche little exception, neuter increasing nouns that end in either al or ar go like cubile. Best example of that would be animal, animal, animalis, neuter, an animal. You think it's going to be a increasing noun and we'll go like opus, but because it is a neuter noun ending in al or ar, it actually goes like cubile. So the plural of animal is animalia, 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 animalium, animalibus, animalibus. So, some more reasons to distrust the third declension. It was tricky enough as it was, and now we've got these funny forms which are there to kind of trip you up, to do with whether it is a non-increasing or an increasing noun. Just to kind of, put your minds at rest, most nouns which are third declension go like rakes if they're masculine, feminine or common, or opus if they're neuter. But we do have these nouns which do these slightly funny things. The most obvious funny thing is adding an I in the genitive plural to go ium, but in the neuter they also go ia, 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 and just beware about that ablative singular for non-increasing third declension neuter nouns, ends in the letter I, not the letter E. Okay? Right, next time we will move on to lighter and brighter subjects, but until then, keep up the good work.